All right, welcome back, everyone, to episode 3 of the Hey Unk podcast. As always, I'm your host, Uncle Shannon. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. We have a special guest uncle joining us today, my cousin, Curtis Canty. For those that know Curtis, you know he comes with the hot takes and has many opinions. So this should be an interesting conversation. And in today's episode, we really want to get into some of the times we had back in the day when we were coming up and making decisions coming out of high school, but also want to get into some of the deeper meaning of things as we go through the conversation. And hopefully this will be a little fun as well for the audience, especially those that are of a certain age. So welcome to When Light Skin Was In. Gentlemen.
What's up?
What's going on?
And he didn't feel the need to introduce us. That's Uncle Stewart and I'm Uncle Mark. So
y'all been on every episode.
Oh, okay. My bad. I just felt compelled to make sure they knew who we were.
Could be the first one for somebody.
You know.
That's true.
Okay.
This is Uncle Mark.
Sensitive.
This is Uncle Stewart.
Sensitive
so
Mark.
Make sure y'all welcome them and talk about them in the comments so they don't feel bad.
Right, and even though as a guest I am an uncle as well, so
that's right.
So I am officially Uncle Curtis to some.
That's right.
Uncle Curtis.
So, and we start off every episode when we have a new unkie in and ask the question. So, in your family unit, what kind of uncle are you? What unk are you?
It's funny. I'm the fun uncle, but I'm also the fun broke uncle. It's that only happened recently. So I'll get out there in the yard. Like early on, I would get out there in the yard and I'd be the one to play games and watch TV, and like I'm up on anime and comics or just whatever the in thing is at the time. But and I guess the range for me, for my nieces and nephews, is I've got one at 21 and as young as 2. And one at 16, so like right in that median there. So like now their tastes are getting a little bit more pricey and expensive. So, Uncle Curtis can't. I still want to hang on to that whole fun thing, but it's getting a little pricey right now. So I'm gonna need a second job or sell an organ or something.
Requires a little bit.
I hear what's his name? Owner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Jerry Jones.
I hear he's harvesting organs.
Hey, despite my outward
hey, it's just what I heard.
I'm just saying.
I mean, have no concrete proof, so it's just something I heard.
I've taken care of my liver for most of my time, so I'd be up to.
You'd be open for that.
Yeah, carving off a little bit of that because it can regenerate. Piece. Break off a little piece, put that on the black market, see what it goes for.
Little liver.
We might need to come up with a better plan. I think we need a more sustainable plan.
Well, I mean, organ harvesting's a big business,
but you only got so many to go around.
It's
not sustainable. Yeah, to your point.
And only so many doctors that really want to do that kind of work. So,
I appreciate the fact that you open to anything, though.
Fair enough. Hey, man. I mean, it's for my family.
Hey, bro, I just don't want you to end up in a seedy motel in a bathtub full of ice. I don't want that to happen.
Here lies Curtis.
Yeah. Hey, we'd be too many statistics to go out that way.
Hey,
that ain't the way.
The title of the podcast is When Light Skin Was In, and ironically enough, I'm sitting amongst a lot of light-skinned brothers.
Yes.
So,
what do you consider yourself?
Well, I've caramelized.
Okay, caramelized.
That's right. He ain't always been that.
That's right.
I am formerly a light-skinned.
Formerly known. Okay.
Yeah. I'm one of the artists formerly. I got a permanent tan. just from my sleeves down.
Right.
Though. When I peel off, I'm back light-skinned it like everybody else.
So you like a double agent? Like slip in and out?
Yeah, you can maneuver. Okay. But,
Well, as a culture, one of the things we never did establish is actually what does constitute light skin, like what that range is and where the cutoff is. Maybe that's a
good point.
Yeah, maybe that's a Patreon episode or something like that.
Yeah, and before we get into that, let's be clear with the audience. Colorism is not cool. We say this in jest. It's a real thing, and it's not cool, and you shouldn't judge people by that. But they all proper light skinned, so we're going to talk about it today.
That's a good way to set it up.
Yeah, well, you know.
Because the goal is not to defend or offend anybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's just conversation.
That's right.
It's just comedy.
And to put boundaries around it, you know, our time as light-skinned men was late 80s to probably mid 90s.
Yeah,
we were in style. We were the shit.
That's right.
When you look at movie stars and singers and all that at the time, we were riding pretty high back then.
I'll be honest with you though, late 80s, early 90s, even as a light-skinned person, I guess. I mean, I didn't really get to ride that wave. It was more challenging for me. It's not like I had them coming at me from all sorts of ways. It was just one of those. Every now and again, I had some interest.
I think because you were too busy trying to be hard.
Probably.
Yeah.
Not approachable.
Yeah.
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 Might have had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. I had a different challenge because I was very much a late bloomer. So for me, just self-conscious from a social standpoint, I really didn't lean into whatever those whatever, like that particular trope at the time. Like, you would hear it in different circles and settings and whatnot. But for me, just because I was kind of a self-conscious kid growing up, like even through, actually for high school, it was a little different for me because I changed districts. I think had I gone to the high school I was initially had come up through elementary, middle school, what have you.
And for context, what high school where did you grow up?
So grew up in Winston-Salem.
Okay.
Grew up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And actually the schools that I went to were based on my grandmother's address. And so by the time I got to high school, by the time it was time for me to go to high school, coming out of middle school, my parents decided, it's like, okay, well, you're going to go to school in your district now. So for me, that was a challenge because now here are all these relationships that I've been developing since 5 years old up until 12, 13. And then now, okay, boom, at the very critical juncture in my life, I'm going from middle school to high school where I'm basically starting over again.
So that being said, I mean, you kind of ratted on yourself, so I'm going to ask, do you think that affected your transcripts? I mean, you was like fake addressing.
So to be fair, technically they weren't fake. I think whatever authorizing agency would come in, they would see that, okay, well, this kid's at least having breakfast and lunch and maybe an occasional dinner at his address.
Okay.
And spending an inordinate amount of time on the weekend. So no, we had 10 toes on the line probably for that.
Gotcha.
So,
It was a simpler time.
It was, but I didn't know if full disclosure now would like disregard all the hard work you put in then, because it's where we came from. Or if I mean, we sort of did the same thing. So I'm not saying it publicly though.
Okay,
Not now.
not now.
No,
okay. You wouldn't say
No,
it
not
publicly.
right
I would
now.
not say that publicly.
I understand.
We stayed. Because we stayed in the county district, but my mom saw it fit that we went to the city school system, and that's a Buncombe County thing, Asheville, North Carolina, mountain area. Anyway, but
So Curtis, coming up, kind of what was your journey? Kind of finishing high school, finding yourself. What route did you go?
non-linear. So we've talked about elementary to middle school, and at my like I said in a separate school. But then going to high school, went to the school in my neighborhood with all those neighborhood friends, but they had kind of pockets of their own. After high school, I went to Winston-Salem State University initially, and even that was
Eye-opener?
that was a bit of a challenge.
Challenge, okay.
Yeah, that was a bit of a challenge for me because I wanted to go to Central. Like, for me, that whole time growing up, and yeah, I'm sure you remember this, like, we wanted to get out of Winston.
Yes, right.
Like,
Absolutely.
that was the drive. It's like, okay, I can't wait to get out of Winston. Yeah. So for me, I had gotten accepted to a couple of schools, and North Carolina Central is where I ultimately wanted to go. And my parents wouldn't send me there, basically. So it was like, yeah, we don't think you're ready to go out of the city just yet. As much as I wanted to relent, I couldn't because they're footing the bill. So what am I going to do? Yeah, had I known about emancipation, I mean, maybe I could have tried that, but probably wouldn't have gone over well that next Christmas.
No.
Do you appreciate that now, looking back?
That's a great question. Yes and no. Because that's a funny thing about life. You look back and you reflect and you think about what might have been, but I know that the journey that I've been on right now, I appreciate who I am right now, and being at Winston-Salem State was very much a part of that. For that time, I don't know necessarily that my parents were right, because I think one of the terms they use is like, yeah, we don't think you're mature enough to go away from home. I'm like, I don't know about that, but then I kind of proved them right come spring semester, because once the weather. So first, let me back up just a little bit. So the first semester I go to Winston-Salem State, fantastic. I'm super focused. I'm in one of 3, maybe 4 places. I'm in my room, I'm in the gym, at the library, or I'm in class. Like, that was pretty much it. Decent GPA that first term. Spring semester rolls around, and just the beauty of HBCUs and the culture and what spring does to everyone.
Yeah, that first warm day at the HBCU.
Yeah, it really was.
So is it fair to say your light-skinnedness kicked in?
I think it did.
Yes.
That's what it sounds like.
I mean, I don't know.
I
I participated in the HBCU.
Yes, sir.
So I know when it got hot, what happened. Because the first time, when you first get there, it's hot, right?
Right.
But you don't know anybody.
Right.
It's like,
it's an adjustment.
yeah, you still longing for home, yada, 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 so on and so forth. You still trying to hold on to relationships from high school. So you got all that going on, so you're not really focused. But after the dust settles, you get into class, you're getting into these rhythms, and then, you coasting through the winter, everybody's covered because nobody wants to be seen, and then it gets warm.
I'll be honest, I never thought of it that way. So maybe it did. Maybe that is when the trigger hit.
Yeah.
Or maybe my parents were right, and I wasn't mature enough to go away from home. So it could be a combination of both.
So that's interesting. Okay, so it's springtime, Winston State.
Yeah.
Kind of lose a little focus.
I lost a lot of focus. I lost a lot of focus. I was definitely feeling myself. Had a few hours under my belt. Figure like, I got this. You know what? I'm not. I can skip this one class and make it up and get the notes later. Blah blah blah. That did not happen. I did not finish that semester strong, and then ended up moving off campus the next year, basically staying home and being a commuter student. From there, I met old high school sweetheart, basically, and once again, kind of lost my mind for a bit. Even though that turned out to be a long-term relationship, kind of on again, off again for several years. But from there, I was just really going nowhere fast. And,
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so that's when I had to do my stint in the military, because it was, and not out of any sense of patriotism or anything like that. I want to be very, very clear about that, because we were in between. We were in between wars at the time.
Yeah.
But my family does have a strong military. It does have a strong presence in the military in terms of service. So I had that going for me. But for me, I just needed to buy time to figure out what I wanted to do with my life.
Makes sense.
So that's when I made that pivot to go into the Navy in spring of '92.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think my biggest takeaway from going in the military was I hated school. I mean, with the burning passion of 7 sons, I hated school. So I knew I had to do something. For me, it was, okay, you going on the brick pile out there with Tony, Chip, and Granddad and all that, or are you going to do something else? Now, for those that don't know, my family owns a construction company. So all of us had to work every summer out there on the brick pile, is what we call it, because we come from a family of brick masons. So my choice was, I got to do something. I know if I stay, I'm gonna have to go work on the brick pile. If I go to college, I'm gonna hate every minute of it. So what's left? Okay, I'll go in the Navy. I'll make some money and figure out what I want to do.
Yeah, and so to that point, and for everyone listening, so Shannon's always been big cousin. Like Shannon's big cousin, and that was one. And he's also kind of the goody big cousin too. For whatever reason, I don't know how that happened.
Goody as in bougie?
No, goody in terms of you should be more like Shannon.
Oh wow!
Like he's the responsible one, or like
Really?
if we're going
I
out
keep
somewhere.
telling y'all,
Responsible.
I don't
one?
know why y'all don't believe me.
All right.
Because we don't.
We don't.
It's
exactly.
it's
Case in
true.
point,
It's
Barry Hall. You know what?
You keep bringing up old
leave it
stuff.
alone. Leave it
man.
alone.
You
Leave it
keep
alone.
bringing up old
Leave it
stuff.
alone.
I made one mistake.
It wasn't a mistake.
It was not a mistake
But-
because I had a
That's all right.
anyway.
no, but to that, so I had an uncle on my mother's. Actually, I had two uncles on my mother's side that had served. One in the Air Force, one in the Air Force, one in the Navy. My grandfather on my mother's side was a Marine. So again, that history was there. Granddad was in the Army. So yeah, it was. Yeah, why don't you go in the military? And for me, I was like, well. And I looked at everything, and then ultimately I just decided on the Navy and went into an apprenticeship program there, which my uncle on my mom's side told me don't do that, but I couldn't help myself. I was like, I just needed to get in and get out, and to be fair, I did give the military an opportunity, wherein because the program I was in, I don't even know if it still exists right now. It's basically you go in as an apprentice, and it's basically 2 years active and then 6 years inactive. But you can actually have an opportunity to kind of re-up after that first 2 year term. And so for me, went in with an open mind. I was like, all right, I'm not looking to be a career military individual, but if after 2 years this is something I like, I know I can re-up. And wasn't even after 2 years, like after 18 months, I'm like, all right, the audition's over. I don't think we'll be extending this, people. So
yeah. And my experience was similar. When I went in, I thought, okay, I do 20 years. I'll retire at 37, do something else with my life, get a check for the rest of my life. But then it's that little tricky thing of another man having more say over your life than you. I couldn't do it. I couldn't live like that.
Yeah, I worked with during that time. I worked with a lot of good guys, but I worked with a lot of idiots too. And the only thing they had over me was rank, and rank rules in the military. So I couldn't put myself in a system like that anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And two things I was very naive about when I went into the military, right? Because I hang around intelligent people, Mark too. But
Wow, Mark II. All right. That's exciting.
okay, relatively intelligent.
All right.
Okay.
Stewart, you like that?
I had no clue. And if you fall in this category, I'm not meaning to offend, how not intelligent the general populace is. When I went into boot camp, I'm like, y'all, are you serious right now? And they handing them guns. I'm like, no, man. Why are you handing this dude a gun? No. But yeah, I mean, we had one guy in our company who was going to be a nuclear engineer. Brilliant dude. We had to dress him every morning because he couldn't button his shirt up straight.
What?
But he gonna have his finger on the button.
Which is funny because what a lot of people don't realize, those that aren't affiliated with the military or associated with or know anyone in the military, like they literally teach you how to dress. I mean, just it's like no, you have to start with a button and look at each one, coming up from the bottom all the way to the top,
Yeah.
making sure that the gig line, which is where your buttons line up, to the belt buckle and this, that, and the other, just like literally told you how to dress. So we had a couple of guys like that.
And he physically, he could not do it.
Yeah,
He couldn't.
yeah.
I never considered that they, at that age that they taught you how to dress, but I don't want to leave Mark out on the, I don't know if I'm getting too far ahead of myself, but your light-skinned piece.
My light-skinned piece.
Yeah, because, light skin was in
Yeah.
when,
Right.
we were coming of age. I'm
So-
just curious, what was that like?
For me, it was a little challenging as well. In some ways, I had these, they had these funny looking eyes. So I didn't think it was a big deal, but girls thought that was a big deal. So take it for what it's worth,
No, I can't
Well,
do that.
okay.
What is it worth?
I didn't understand, I guess, what now you could say the type of power I had. I wasn't
Oh,
into
yeah,
all
power.
that. Yeah, I didn't know that till later, till I got to
So would you
college.
gaze into their
Nah,
eyes?
I
What
got to
was
do all
that
that. I just look,
That's exactly what it is.
and
like? Hold on. Get a camera
no,
to look.
can't do all
Get a
that.
camera
But
to look.
nevertheless,
How
hold
did
on.
you
You said
gaze?
how was my experience? This is
I
where I'm
understand,
at.
but you mentioned the eyes. I didn't. So how would you gaze?
I would just look at them.
But how?
I just look.
I mean, look into the camera.
I
like you
can't
would
look at. I just look, dude, and my eyes changed colors with whatever I wore. So they thought that was a big deal.
So like
You had
million
guys
eyes.
like, you got your Christopher Williams, you got guys like that singing and all that. Hey, I was in a good place.
Okay.
I was
Don't
hanging
wake
around.
you.
I was hanging around this light skinned guy. Oh, if that's what you're not claiming that either.
Oh,
You
yeah.
caramel.
I was purple light skin back in the day. I ain't
So, I
ashamed.
was having some fun times, sir.
Served me well.
Yes, sir.
For a period of time.
Yeah, and we'll get to what happened later. Why it changed. It's a heartbreaker.
It's all right.
It is.
We coming back.
We think we're coming.
We coming back.
I wouldn't know.
That's right. You never left,
This
right?
thing is locked down.
So you're in the Navy. You're making the decision of what's next. How did you process that, or how did you go through and make that decision of what's next?
For me, I remember that moment pretty vividly, and then it got reinforced a little bit later at another incident. I don't know if we would get into it during this cast, but so I was an aircraft director, and basically, if you've seen a Navy movie, the guys with the yellow shirt directing traffic, either
Top
on
Gun.
the flight deck, from like Top Gun or something like that. The guys either directing traffic of the planes, either on the flight deck or the hangar deck, and I remember we were doing moves in the middle of the night. We're on a Westpac. Westpac is it's a Western Pacific tour, basically. We're moving planes up and down from the flight deck to the hangar deck, and there's just kind of a lull, and we're just sitting around waiting for something to happen. And I'm laying down on the L well, which is kind of the opening to where the elevator comes down, and looking out in the ocean, and just the waves crashing everywhere, and I just have this moment to where I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. It's like, this is like, just the excitement of the move and everything was fine, because you've got multi-million-dollar aircraft and multi-million-dollar machinery that you're in control of, and I'm 19 years old at the time, and can move it with precision and confidence. And that was exciting for a moment, but like, just during that lull, I just remember, I was like, yeah, I don't, like, there's nothing, this is not a future for me. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm kind of done. So, and then I think from there, still wanted to do my job and do it well, but yeah, just I think mentally, that's when I was like, I started looking back on kind of the things that I took for granted before. So school being one of them, wherein it's like, okay, when I go back, I'm going to focus. I'm going to be a better student. Just going to be a little bit more responsible about what it is and what it is that I'm doing and why I want to do it. And at the time, I think I said, yeah, I want to go back and I want to be a business major, and went back and kind of picked that up. So once that and a couple of other incidents afterwards. where I kind of mouthed off to the wrong person at the wrong time, which kind of got me in a little bit of trouble. But like that's, Shannon, as you know,
Been there.
yeah, I mean, just that's, well, I mean, so just in dealing with certain people in certain environments, like there's certain things I don't like. Like I can't stand inactive leadership. So I don't have a problem with whatever my role is on the pecking order. Like, and I will sit there and I will do my role. But with that, I expect everyone else to do their job as well. And there were these moments where that was not being done. And so it was making what I was doing and my shipmates doing a whole lot more difficult and not giving any explanation for that or any direction as to why. And I don't operate well in those types of environments. And I still don't operate well in those types of environments. So, and then when you pop off at the mouth in the military, it's a little different when you do it here in the corporate world.
It is.
Like they could technically throw you in jail for doing that type of stuff.
It definitely has more consequences. Here, you can get fired. So what?
Yeah, exactly.
So
I get another
what?
job, but like I don't
want to spend my time in jail.
No, I don't want to spend my time in a brig eating bread and water or
Yeah.
scrubbing a stairwell with a steel wool toothbrush. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely has consequences, but I think our journeys to get to the point of, you know what, I have to do something with my life. And for me, it came down to, because of my experience and not wanting someone else to dictate to me what I can and can't do, I had to find a path where I could make my own choices in life. And that's really what led me to go back to school, because I could have gotten out of the Navy and gone back and worked at Grace Construction. Mm-hmm. But again, I would have had no control over that, no say in how it runs, what goes on. None of that. That was my uncle's company. So I had to find a path for me. Having that choice is what it was all about. And it's been that way in my life from the get-go. From once I graduated from college, the only reason I went to get my MBA is so people couldn't tell me no, right? I don't care nothing about my MBA. Did I learn some things? Yeah. Could I figure those things out on my own without paying them all that money? Absolutely. But having those 3 letters behind my name gave me more choices. So that's really what it was about for me.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And honestly, like the military actually does that too, because I know, just when I started off talking about that aspect of it, like, and just being full disclosure, did I want to go in to fight for my country and this, that, and the other? No, that was not a primary motivation of mine, like going at the time. But moving out from that, when people discover that I was in the military, or I share with them that I was in there, like there is a little bit of reverence is not quite the word that I'm looking for, but there's a little bit more respect that's actually kind of extended to you. There are things that are just kind of naturally just assumed of you because you've served and served honorably. Let me put that in there as well. Like if you've served and come out with an honorable discharge, then just there's certain boxes that just people just automatically check off for you. I guess, is privilege would privilege be a right term for that?
I don't know that it's privilege. I think you used the word deference. There's a certain deference. It's not really a privilege. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so, and having that in my back pocket as well, just as I continued on through college and even through my professional career, it has helped, and I did not anticipate that aspect of it. But I'll take it.
So just kind of listening to you guys, from what I hear, it seems like you guys just needed the direction to get your lives on track. And that's what the military typically is for, from my understanding.
Yeah,
Am I right?
And I will say for me, the Navy helped me figure out exactly what I didn't want out of life.
Right.
And then that led me to figure out my direction. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't go into the military.
Right.
You absolutely should, and it's the right choice for some people. At the end of the day, it helped me.
Right.
I may not be here right now had I not had that experience. But, it very quickly made me figure out I don't want anybody else having control over my life.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's definitely a big thing. And similarly, that was kind of how I wanted to go. And Mark, you mentioned the military providing direction for you. For a lot of my former shipmates, actually, well, for a lot of my shipmates there, some of them needed that. They were a lot kind of worse off. I mean, because there's this range of just reasons you're in there once you get to boot camp, and then once you get assigned to your duty station, of what's their why. But for me, mine was kind of on the lower end of things, whereas some of them were a little bit more severe. I mean, like that was the only option they had. They, needed an escape from the lifestyle, just from the home life that they had, or just even patriotism. I mean, there were some that was like, no, my mom, my dad served, my mom served, my granddad, blah, 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 what have you, and I want to continue that tradition. And all that's fine. I mean, but for those people that needed that direction, it was available for them. I didn't necessarily need to do that. Right. So when Shannon was talking about the guy in his company that they had to teach him how to dress, like, oh, okay, that's probably needed a little help in that area, whereas we didn't necessarily need that aspect of it.
Right. Yeah. All right. So now we're rolling forward. You got out when?
So active duty, 94 was my last year, and total and actually fully discharged was it 90?
Had to be 98, right?
It would have been, 98 would have been that.
So now we're in the mid-90s. You knew you didn't want to be in the Navy anymore. What was the next move?
Went back to college, changed majors a couple of times. Started off as a business major, and then life happens with several things, which is a great thing about college in and of itself. I mean, you're exposed to so many different things that there are different things that kind of pique your interest, and you tend to go down some of those paths just to kind of explore and see what's down there. So, and then actually changed schools a couple of times as well. So ended up going to initially UNC Greensboro and then Greensboro College, because I also fancied myself as a student athlete. Played basketball my whole life, tried to put it away. My dad talked me back into, just give it one more shot, and ended up doing that. Ended up getting me into a showcase where I did really well at that particular showcase, but at the time I'd been to two different schools. They were both four-year institutions. It was a JUCO kind of D2 showcase. And some of the JUCO schools were really interested in me, but they were like, all right, dude, you've got enough credits to have your associates already. It would do you no good to come here. Ended up going to Greensboro College to pursue an opportunity there. They had a coaching change. That change affected my ability to be on that team. And so while I was there, I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to walk into the football team. And I ended up walking onto the football team and playing there. And then ultimately graduating December 98. Yeah, December 98 is when I ultimately graduated. But I played football in 97.
So when you
finished that out.
So when you played football, you was like the oldest kid on the football team?
Surprisingly, I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
You would think I was,
Okay.
but surprisingly, I was not. There were two other guys that had me by 2 years. One of them's still a really good friend of mine. He was actually an usher at my wedding. But what was crazy about that time was I was hurt most of the time, because the last time I had played football, I was a freshman in high school.
The body was just old. Wow.
My body was not responding well to a lot
Your
of
mind
that.
was, I bet.
Oh, my mind was sharp.
Yeah.
Mine was sharp, but it just was not moving my body in the right direction
right.
that it was, or even from a recovery standpoint, because football's not a contact sport for those of us that have played it. It's a collision sport. And so
That's right.
getting back into those collisions again at that particular age, because I was 23.
29? Oh.
Stop.
Okay.
It was like 23, 24, just like having picked it up for the first time in 10 years. That whole season, it was difficult for me to even have a good week of practice, because something was always hurt. And I spent part of that season injured. I ended up pulling my groin early on, recovered from that. The next practice came back, pulled the other one. So, yeah.
So you stopped growing?
It did impact that.
Just curious.
I stopped growing up, I stopped growing up because once football season ended, I definitely started growing out immediately because I was never a gym person. So I was like, what? I don't have to get up and do weights and conditioning? Let me eat this pizza at 11:30 at night and go to bed.
All right, so we're going through the 90s. You guys graduate. I graduated in 97. You graduated in 98. Now that by that time, our heyday of the light-skinned brother had ended. But there's several theories around what ended the year of the light-skinned brother. Curtis, as the guest, I'll let you kick off with the first theory.
So my theory, and this is a more popular one amongst the culture, is if those of us who remember the movie New Jack City, there is a particular scene where Wesley Snipes, as the main character, Nino Brown, is upset because his empire has crumbled. Gathers all his lieutenants in a room dressed in black, and basically blames Christopher Williams' character. Was it something Akbar or whatever? But just pulls out a knife, stabs him in the hand, and then looks at him and says, "Those iconic." Then I'm sorry. Then I forgot. He takes the chain that he had the dog with, and starts choking him at the table in front of people. And once they pull him off, he just says, "I never liked you anyway, pretty motherfucker."
Right. Light-skinned people ain't been the same since.
And to me, that was a death knell.
I'm with you on that. Yeah. We ain't been the same since.
So Wesley Snipes may have saved Marvel, but he ended the career of many a light-skinned brother. I agree, and I concur that was what did it, because we fell off, and then all these chocolate brothers started coming up, and they was the next new thing.
Yeah, because here's the thing. And I never really gave it a ton of thought, but just within entertainment, so we had Wesley Snipes, Denzel Washington was starting to make his rise as well. And heck, even for what it's worth, Notorious B.I.G. But the Notorious B.I.G. had a heartthrob aspect about him as well, and things just seemed to be going in that direction.
How do I say goodbye?
Yeah, we had to let it go.
What do you think, Stewart? Brought us down.
Hey, man, I don't know. I just don't know, man. I just know one day all you hear was, light skin ain't in. Light skin ain't in. Light skin ain't in. Okay. I don't know, man. But it sounds like reasonable because it happened all about the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Christopher Williams, looked like a chump.
Right.
He ain't made an album since.
Yeah, he ain't made an album. Don't wake him. He's still dreaming.
Yeah.
He's still dreaming. Anyway, but yeah, you guys are probably right about that. That is a very, very high probability that theory is more of a fact than just a theory. So,
All right, it's that time of the week for Stu's question of the week. What you got for us this week?
all right, so I do have a question. The question is to the panel, and if you care to leave a comment, please feel free to do so. Is it okay if you're a manly man, and no disrespect to anybody when I ask this question, but if you go to a woman concert, say like a Jill Scott or Erykah Badu or something like that, is it okay for you to sing those songs at that concert, especially if you're being, well, first of all, it's kind of weird if a group of guys go to a concert like that.
That's right.
It's just a little weird. But if you're going with your date, is it okay to sing at a woman's concert as a manly man those women's songs?
Can I ask a question? Like, can you sing?
It doesn't even matter.
I think it does.
No. Hear me out. What I'm saying is, I don't. It doesn't matter if you have the ability to sing or if you're just making a joyful noise and just singing along because you know the lyrics. Is it okay for you to do it? Is my question.
And my answer to that is absolutely it's okay. because and for me, it's not even really about the words that you're singing. It's about being in that moment and the vibe that it's creating. So what difference does it make if Jill Scott is singing, and a lot of her lyrics, right, are female oriented, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're in that moment, you're vibing with the crowd, she's putting on a show, you're feeling what she's doing.
Right.
Who cares?
I don't know about that. So, first of all, he's an idiot for the question, but that's okay. So, you know, he made me think about, I just saw the SWV Tiny Desk. And, you know, growing up, 90s, of course, I liked that group. And they had an opportunity when they were singing Weak, and they asked for the participation of the audience. And they began to pan the audience. And as they're panning the audience, I happened to see a couple of brothers who were standing there like I would probably be doing, saying absolutely nothing, because it just doesn't seem right to be singing I'm weak in the knees. It's just how it looked. You know, I know, it just didn't. I'm just saying, if I'm with a young lady, you know, I'm on my date, sure, maybe, you know, Jill Scott, I may be singing, but I'm not just getting ready to, like they said, okay, help, you know, they were like,
Yes, they were getting the crowd into it.
Yeah. I mean, they into it. It just, I don't know. Y'all help us on that, because I think I feel him, but
I don't see a problem.
Okay.
I don't, and that's I don't. I guess for me, when I asked that initial question about can you sing or not, like I'm thinking about just like the crooners of the day. I mean, like even staying with when the light skin was in theme, like, but like El DeBarge, Christopher Williams, L.B. Shore. Okay, well, yeah, those brothers went out there and they represented, and I don't know. I mean, like to Shannon's point, I mean, it's the vibe, it's the mood the feeling that you get within that. Yeah, I obviously I don't know that I am not a trained singer. That day has passed, so I don't know that I would perform as well as they would, or whether anyone would want to hear that. But yeah,
if I'm in the crowd and I'm feeling it,
again,
I'm singing.
You're using Al.B. Shore and all them. That's not the same to me.
Okay, I'll give you another one. And I've yet to see her in concert. She's been in the area. Every time she's been in the area, I've had a conflict and have not been able to go. But Sade, one of my favorite artists.
I agree.
One of my favorite artists of all
Fantastic.
time.
Yeah.
Her song off of one of her earlier albums, War of Hearts, it's just the way that song hits.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
The way it hit your heart.
Yeah, I would. If she were on stage, if I were at that concert, when that song comes on, I am probably
You vibing.
Yeah, I'm vibing, and it's probably going to start off humming along, depending upon when that is in her set. And at some point, if there is an opportunity to sing along, I'd probably do that.
So if you're at a show and you're really feeling the singer, well, what do you do? Just stand there?
No, I mean, you can move, but you just can't sing.
So-
I mean, just like, okay, Mark gave a perfect example. What did this look like? If you had an SWV concert and they singing, I get so weak. It's just no way those words are uttering out of this mouth. It just can't happen.
I don't.
I know the
understand what
lyrics
issue is.
because I've heard it.
Yeah.
And it's a decent song. It wouldn't be hit my top, but nonetheless, most people know that song.
Yeah.
And most people would be singing it. But I can't see myself getting so weak in the knee
I tell you what.
Right.
that I can hardly speak.
When I listened to the Tiny Desk concert, I was in my office jam.
Okay.
Again, Shannon.
Okay.
Right.
At your office,
We feel
in
you
your
with
office
If I
jamming.
would have been there, I would have been the same way.
You see that, and I hear you, and respectfully,
Yeah.
we're gonna agree to disagree. But it's just no way that your boy's gonna sit there in a concert and sing that song out loud.
Okay.
I just can't do it.
So is it the setting?
Yes.
Okay, so
Absolutely
it's the
the
setting
setting.
that makes a difference.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Makes all the difference.
Okay.
Because, even that song right there, it's just certain songs I'm just not going to sing.
Right.
If I know the lyrics, I just hear it. But even in my car solo, you would not catch me if there's a camera in my car singing. I get so weak. No, it's just not happening.
Okay.
Now, Sade got songs that bring it out of you. Smooth Operator, my favorite song all time. Is It a Crime? I love Sade.
Mm-hmm.
Now, those songs will make me sing alone.
Yeah. But if
Or
you
even-
at Sade's
or even-
concert,
Oh, no.
No.
Not gonna say.
I'll be resolute.
So in the shower,
No, I
in the car.
grew. Not resolute. I grew. I
Yeah.
grew a little bit, you know. Eddie Murphy, you remember Eddie Murphy in, what is it, the movie? He's with Taggart, the first one.
Beverly Hills
Yeah,
Cop.
you're sitting there doing a dance, you know. You sit there and
You know, you're going to shake it.
you can dance like Eddie Murphy. You know what I'm saying? But no, man, you can be in the moment, but you don't have to express it verbally.
Okay.
So there's other ways to do it,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Okay.
And I can sit there, I can feel it. Grab a hand and y'all jive together. It doesn't matter. But singing, that right there.
And
Yeah,
I would have
I
been
don't
with
think
y'all until he brought back in remembrance that tiny desk. And I was like, yeah, I ain't nowhere in the world. I'm
Yeah.
sitting there vibing
I
with
don't
that.
know why y'all blocking y'all own joy.
Whatever.
Let it out. Ain't hell, life hard enough.
But I'm good. Trust me, I'm good with that. Though. I'm good with keeping that one in.
All right.
I don't have no issues. Anytime I can feel a little bit of joy, I'm letting it out.
That's an excellent point, actually. I didn't quite think of it that way, but yeah, that I guess that would kind of summarize it for me too. I mean,
Yeah, y'all cousins. It makes sense.
Yeah, y'all related.
We are.
Definitely.
we are, but
Light skin.
I wouldn't-
Light skin. Yeah.
Hey, it's not my fault we embrace life and all its
It's
different,
life. Okay.
all its different journeys, and that's how it is. You need to open yourself up, open your heart. It'll be all right.
It's open, buddy.
So let me extend that question. Is there any song that's appropriate to sing? Like, what about "Always and Forever" by Heatwave?
Who leads it?
Again.
But who
I'm-
leads that?
Who what?
a
Whose song
duet.
is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, it's a male group. So
Right.
yeah.
Okay,
So you said that?
Yeah, you're cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're cool.
Again, I think it's the
Because you
song.
more like serenading at that
Right.
point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that is a distinct. So that is a distinction. So if it is a male artist,
For sure. No doubt.
male artist,
Yeah.
male zone, no problem.
Yeah, no
Right.
problem.
So, okay, let's take that a step further then.
No, it ain't no. It's just males and females.
I
How
get it.
much further can we go?
But Luther Vandross
Okay.
sang several songs
Yeah.
and remade songs that were originally sung by women. So, can you sing Luther?
It depends on the song.
Right.
But now it depends on the song.
Yeah, because if it's a remake from a woman, then no.
How do you, would you even know?
No, probably not.
Exactly.
Because I didn't even know A House Was Not a Home was a remake
Exactly.
for a long time. But see, but here lies the point again. I already know that Luther represents love from a masculine standpoint. Regardless of where he pulled that song from, it's an opportunity to serenade a woman.
Okay.
So from that premise, then you're okay to sing it.
I don't know if any of those songs, if he said he sang it to a woman or not.
I don't care what he said. I know what he
I'm
you
just
can
saying.
question whether or not,
So let's go back to SWV.
it's
downtown.
sobriety, if you will.
We know what downtown is.
Yeah.
I'm not singing downtown.
Go downtown.
Oh my God.
Why would you sing?
Well,
kind of a setup.
kind of a setup. Yeah, okay. Not singing.
You ain't get that peach fuzz around your mouth from nowhere.
Hey.
So you
I
know
grew
what
that
you know
as a
what you know
man.
what would have made more sense
don't know
though.
about
Now
all
I
that.
tell you what
That's-
really trips you out if you think about it is, okay, take that song for instance.
Okay.
How that you know as an adult what it means.
Yeah.
But when your kids are learning these songs, you're like, good gracious, I can't believe my kids, singing these, and it's innocent for them.
Yeah.
Because they don't know.
Right.
But then when the reality, just like for us, I would imagine when the reality of it is, okay, now I know what that means. I can't believe that I used to sing that song
Oh, yeah.
not having a clue as to what I
Right.
was saying.
Like my mom blasting Rick James every Saturday morning.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
You
that
know
is
what
a
was,
that is a
but
great
until
example.
you figure it out.
Yeah, and Rick
Rick
James
was a freak.
Yes,
and
he
he told
was.
you he was.
Yeah, he did.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
He told you, super.
That's right.
freak.
Because, yeah, Mary Jane.
Yeah, I ain't know nothing about.
I didn't
I
either
just
until
in love with
later on.
Mary Jane.
Yeah.
That's it. And I'm thinking it's a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Whole time.
Very well worded song. I mean, he was,
Yes, it is. Full of innuendo and metaphors
Yeah.
and everything else.
Similes.
All right. So, fellas, this time of year, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about a little bit about the election and what's going on in our society. So, I really just wanted to open up the floor for you guys to kind of talk about your feelings around voting and politics and all of that. So, Stu, I know this is something that you're very passionate about.
No doubt. First and foremost, I don't think there's ever a time for anyone to say, "I'm not voting." Let's start there. I don't know how we get to the point where we don't think our vote matters. There are entities, I'm going to say it this way, entities that's constantly trying to make it more difficult, more challenging for you to vote. And for what? Because they know that vote matters. That is you saying out loud, this is the direction that I want the country to go in based on what this person's philosophies are. Now, whether you agree wholeheartedly with everything or not, that's a horse of another color. It's got to be enough in there to at least attract some of your interests. Like, no one candidate holds the key to everything that I want.
Exactly. Right.
Period. But there are some things that are just deplorable for me that I can't get with. There's enough over on the other side that I can gravitate to, but I still would like to see more or less in some aspects. Mm-hmm. And we can run the gamut of what that is, but that's the basic premises for me. So much so, I make sure that my kids are able to vote, and anybody who I talk to, if they don't like certain things, but if you don't participate in the one thing that we have the right to do that costs you nothing, then I have no respect for your opinion. Mm-hmm. Right. Period.
Yeah. And as you're looking at that, I know there's a lot of people that use the excuse of, well, I don't like this, I don't like that. Part of being an adult is sometimes you have to make the shitty call. Mm-hmm. Right?
No doubt.
That's part of being an adult. You have to make decisions. You have to use what information you have to make the best choices you have. And sometimes I think a lot of people get frozen because they don't know about politics and they don't know about the candidates. So they're like, well, I shouldn't do anything because I don't know. Now there's enough information out there that if you don't know, it's because you don't want to know. Number one,
doubt.
Right, you can make that decision. And I just wanted to share a story from my past that is one of the biggest regrets of my life. And it ties back to when I was in the Navy. So I was on the ship. It was the 90 midterms because 92 was the
actually
general.
president. Yeah.
So it was 1990 midterms. And, of course, being in the military, they encouraged, almost threatened everybody to vote, right? And I was going to vote anyway. It's the first time. I'm 18 years old, first time I'm going to vote. So I get my absentee ballot or whatever. I know nothing about any of these people that are on the ballot. But I go ahead and fill out the ballot, and I only kind of heard about one name on the ballot, so that's who I voted for. And then as I started learning the next election cycle about who these people are and, we're getting access to more information, I was so embarrassed. And I'm still embarrassed to this day that I actually voted for Jesse Helms in my first election. I hate myself for casting that vote. But I did participate in the process.
You did.
Right?
And you had a right to speak.
I had a right to speak. Now, had I been more educated about it, there's no way in hell I would have ever voted for that racist piece of shit. But, you still have to be engaged in the process. So yeah, that's one thing I will say. If you don't know, don't feel embarrassed that you don't know. There's enough information resources out here. Just take 20 minutes, go figure it out. All that information is out there. And at the end of the day, if you look at somebody that's sexual predator, molester, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
That may not be who you want to represent you. So, Curtis?
First off, a fantastic summarization of the voting process and how we need to be engaged with that. So certainly kudos to that summarization, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think about one of the things that during one holiday or family gathering, Uncle Junie was talking about politics, as we always do, or as we frequently do in a lot of our family gatherings. But he stated that one of the things that he learned in college from a professor was the number one responsibility of a citizen is to be informed. That is something that hit me hard then as a youngster, and it still hits me hard now because to your point, Shannon, like I still don't feel like with as much information that's out there, I'm still not engaged and involved enough to where the voting is one aspect of it, but when it comes to local elections where those things kind of really have an impact on our lives, just over the course of my life, how infrequent I've been in terms of my engagement with that, in terms of whether it's going to city council meetings or going to sitting in when they're talking about civic ordinances or town halls or open houses or things like that. So yeah, again, I would kind of lean on that, just kind of encourage everyone. Yeah, number one, don't take your vote for granted, and certainly just make sure that you are being informed and being informed from the right sources. Like make sure you're fact checking everything. I can't stand it. The one thing that just one pet peeve I have right now with a lot of people in that space is oh well, I've done that. I've done my research. I was like, oh, so you tell me you've typed in a topic and you came in on you read the first thing that popped up in Google or whatever web browser that you're using, and then you call that research. It's like, no, there's a process to this. There's a lot of bad information out there. There's a lot of disinformation out there. But it's not insurmountable for you to get to the truth if that's what you're searching for. And so for me, that is what I would encourage people to do if you really want to be genuine with your right to vote. Then go in informed and make sure that you're voting your conscience based on the facts.
Yeah, that was where I was headed with the, I think the biggest thing for me is local elections are huge. That's where everything starts. We tend to focus on, the presidency and things like that, but, judges, city council, those things are huge, and it's something that we have to pay attention to. And a lot of times, I realized this past election, because typically a lot of those are on the off years of the presidency, you literally can walk in, somebody's there who's going to talk to you and cast a vote. But that's where a lot of the issues tend to rise, because nobody is participating in that local election. And that's just where it is. And I think it's important that we do that. And like you said, young people, is so important these days that you get involved, because if you don't, you got to think about your kids someday. You have kids. You need to prepare for that, because I feel like this next election, and of course they're all important, but this one here is really going to set that tone for the next 20 to 40 years.
Hey, I'm going to add this, and this is in the same vein, but a little bit different, because I hear it a lot. I absolutely hate when someone tells an athlete to shut up and dribble, or mind your business. Because first of all, if you're not a politician, which the people who are uttering these words are, newscasters, just like you have an opinion about politics, everybody else does too. And how would you expect for somebody to make an informed decision if they don't get involved in politics?
Exactly.
That is the dumbest I ever heard.
Yeah.
Period.
100%.
Shut up and dribble. I'm
If
telling you,
I am
that
a U.S.
enrages
citizen,
me.
that is my business.
That is
Everything
exactly.
you do is
Right.
my business.
You want to vote,
Yeah.
but you don't want to know. You don't want them to know nothing about what they're voting for. That is the stupidest thing you can say. Shut up and dribble, or just play ball. I don't want to see politics. I don't either. But hey, it's a political season. This is a political world, and those decisions affect even those people on that field. So anytime you get the opportunity, you speak your piece.
Yeah, and to that point, it's the other thing that we forget, or we get caught up in over time is like party affiliation, and your candidate, my candidate, whatever. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether I voted for you or not. You are still a servant of the people.
That's right.
At the end of the day, so whether I am still a part of the constituency, my voice matters, and so just because I did not vote for you does not mean that you're still not accountable to the needs of
Oh, no doubt.
Absolutely.
that we have. So I again, to young folk out there, just please don't ever let people pull that on you as well. It's like, oh, my candidate won, your candidate lost. Now it's going to go the way that we wanted to go. No, that is not how government works. That's
all.
not how we do.
Right.
And one of the things too I can't stand is polls. The polls say this. You didn't call me and check with me. I nobody check with me on the poll. I just don't ever get caught up in what polls say and feel like your vote doesn't count.
That's
it's
right.
so important that we remember that.
Polls are a measure at a point in time. It's just a sampling at a point in time. They don't dictate what is actually going to happen.
Yeah. So to that point, like you see things on the screen, but it's also important to pay very close attention to the fine print below all of that when they talk about the methodology of where that
When it
information
came from.
from. And like, oh, we polled 10,000 voters in some rural section of some rural state that has no affiliation to where you are.
So one thing, and I do want to get off my chest about this whole how all this stuff is covered. I don't understand why, mainly in the media, but in this country, why they feel somebody that lives in middle of Kansas is more American than somebody that lives on the East Coast. Why are they, middle America and the bread
The
basket,
heartland.
the heartland. Who the hell cares?
I was born here too.
That's right.
Yeah, we are all the same citizens of this country, and it drives me crazy when they have all these panels, and it's 40 to 65-year-old women from Topeka, Kansas. And?
Never even seen a black person
Right.
in
It's
person.
12 of them. Why do we? Yeah, that drives me crazy.
Yeah, it does, and which is why critical thinking is so important for us as individuals, just to be able to parse through that, because they aren't going to put that out plainly for people to figure out for themselves. Like, you really have to pull, just the observations that we've all made, discussed here. Like, those are the things that, as a voter, going back to what what Judy said, it's like, okay, it's your responsibility to be informed.
Yeah.
So you need to cut through all the BS, all the noise, all the talking heads, and get straight to the facts. And which is actually one of the great things about this country, is the fact that I can call up my congressman or my senator or my mayor.
It's part of the process.
Yes.
Right now?
Yes. And be like,
Yeah, right now.
well, yeah,
that is.
no facts. Good point. But just to air grievance, like, no, this is what's going on in my community, or this is I see that you took this position on this particular vote. This is why I disapprove of you. Just me and my constituency, or me and my folks, we have you on watch. We are, we're going to respond in this manner. And again, that's the other thing too. Like, after you vote, I mean, like, even if it's for a candidate that you voted for, okay, you have a responsibility to hold up those. Exactly, it's not over. It doesn't end there. So we don't all just walk into the voting booth in November and then walk out and just brush your hands off and just be like, okay, well, my work's done. I'll see you in 4 years. No, it's
Never stops.
yeah, it never stops, and it's actually, we won't get into it now, but it's actually one of the pet peeves that I had during COVID, where there was a moment that took place where there was enough energy and there was enough civic engagement out there to where we, as a culture, had the attention of our elected officials and the world. And there were certain things that we got out of that, but it wasn't everything that we wanted or needed. And I really felt like that was kind of a missed moment in time for us, to where, no, you just keep your foot on the necks and you keep pushing until we get exactly what it is that we want as a country.
Yeah.
So,
Because none of us should have went back to work.
We should not have.
no.
I mean, not work. I'm not saying not work, but go back. If you figured out a way to function,
Right.
why?
Why do I need to go into an office?
Why? So yeah, I mean, and that's just one of the things. But you're right. There was a lot of opportunities missed during that time.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there and wrap up this episode of Hey Unk. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to reach out to us on all of our social media platform. You can get to all of our sites and previous episodes on heyunkpodcast.com. And we appreciate you listening and subscribing and joining us on this journey. Curtis, brother, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, brother.
We're going to have you back to talk about comic books and why DC sucks and Marvel doesn't.
Buddy. Buddy. Hey, that might have to be an extended episode. I'm going to need some time on that one.
I'm going to have to brush up on that one.
Oh, yeah. We'll go
I've
deep.
heard that boy before.
He will go deep. All right. Well, thank you very much. Peace.
Peace.